Good evening, all. Welcome to the City of Middletown Planning Board meeting of October the 2nd, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Before we start our official agenda, a little housekeeping for our transcriptionist. This evening, Mr. Higbee is absent and Mr. McCormick is absent. Those present other than board members are Sexto Martinez, Building Inspector, Mike Guattari, Fire Inspector, and Richard Krogan, our Planning Board Attorney. Okay. Moving on now to the agenda. We have the approval of September the 4th, 2024 minutes. I need a motion to approve. Mr. Brito, second Mr. Madden. Any discussion? Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Brito?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Houston?
I abstain. I was absent.
That's fine, and I vote yes. Thank you. First on the agenda, Falan Dafa Gangjin World Foundation, 9 to 29 Canal Street, requesting a 6-month extension. I'm writing to formally request an extension of the planning board approval for the 9-29 Canal Street project, originally granted on April the 3rd, 2024. As this is a complex project, we are currently working with historic consultant to ensure compliance with all regulations and preserve the integrity of the site. We remain committed to moving forward with this project and believe that an extension will allow us to effectively address the challenges we are facing. We truly appreciate the support and guidance the Planning Board has provided thus far, and we are eager to continue our collaboration. Thank you for considering our request. Yes, sir. Would you like to speak? You don't have to.
No, I don't have to.
No, you're good. No. It's just an extension, and you've worded it very nicely. This is the first extension, I believe, Mr. Brito? I know you're very curious about that. All right, I need a motion to accept the extension, 6-month extension. Mr. Brito, I need a second. Ms. Houston, discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Brito?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Houston?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, Roy Bratchfeld, 13 Bedford Avenue, addition to an existing office building. Please step up to the mic. I just need your name and...
My name is Joseph Lavigny. I work for Mr. Brockfeld for 37 years.
You're here representing him now?
I'm here representing him, yeah. He's
Okay.
dealing with the Florida floods.
Okay, thank you. So just briefly tell us what your intentions are.
Basically, add on 25 feet to our building, the existing building. We've been there since, I think, 92, 93. We're just kind of out of room for desk space. We're working on top of each other at the moment
Okay,
as we've grown.
all right. Ms. Tu, do we have the mailings? Okay, great, thank you. In that case, we will open the public hearing. Anyone present wishing to speak on this application, please step forward. Ms. Tu, do we have anything in writing? Anyone on the phone? Okay, no one from the public. I'll move on to the board members. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Mr. Madden?
Can you just describe the center portion of the addition, what we're looking at in those plans?
The center portion, there's a conference room in the center, and then individual offices around.
Thank you.
Also, the dash lock and key is in the front of the building as well.
NAS security, dash lock.
Correct.
Right. Mr. Brito?
I'm sorry. Did you mean the back up here?
New space that's being added on to the proposed new space, talking about the center of it.
So this could be another conference room? You want me
No,
to show
there's
you?
just, yeah, hold on. Oh, that's our file cabinets.
So we're not talking about this one?
That's file cabinets in the back of the building. It's
Thank
a
you.
file room.
Thank you.
Sexto, any concerns?
No concerns at this time.
Mike, any concerns?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Continuing the public hearing, anyone from the public wishing to step forward and address this application? No one stepping forward. I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Brito, Ms. Houston, second. All in favor? Aye. Public hearing is closed. I'll go to the board one more time for any questions, comments, or concerns. None being had. We'll move on to a resolution. Roy Branchfield, 13 Bedford Avenue, addition to an existing office building, as per the resolution that you have in your packet. I need a motion. Mr. Madden, I need a second. Mr. Brito, discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Brito?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Houston?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
See the DPW.
Thank you so much.
They understand about 6 months. I know it's in the
It's in here,
resolution.
I'm not explaining.
All right.
Or else I'll be reading them all again. Don't start with me, Mr. Lawyer. Next on the agenda, Fior Dela Cruz, 215 Wickham Avenue, eating and drinking establishment with wine and beer license. Please step up to the microphone, please. Good. Just state your name for the record.
Fior de la Cruz.
And what do you plan on doing? What's the,
She's planning on doing a beer and wine license to the assistant restaurant.
right, right. The fact is, this is an existing restaurant going for their beer and wine license. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Tu, do we have the mailings? Okay, great. I'm going to open the public hearing. Ms. Tu, do we have anything in writing? Do we have anyone on the telephone? All right, I'll go to the public. Anyone wishing to address this application, please step forward. Okay, I'll go to the board members. Any question, comments, or concerns? None being had. I'm going to go back to the public. Anyone wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one stepping forward. I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nope, got
Okay?
it.
A motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Brito, I need a second. Mr. Madden? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion being closed. I'll go to the board one more time for questions, comments, or concerns.
Sixto, any concerns? And Mike, any concerns?
Not at this time.
Thank you.
It's just wine and beer, correct?
Correct, that's what their application has stated, yes. Okay, that all being said, we're going to go move on to the motion, or the resolution for Fior de la Cruz, 215 Wickham Avenue, an established eating and drinking establishment, looking for a wine and beer license. I need a motion. Mr. Brito, I need a second. Ms. Houston, discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Brito?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Houston?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Good
much.
luck.
Thank you.
You.
All right, next on the agenda will be Stephen Espirisanto, 101 Mahagan Avenue, barbershop.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, yourself.
State your name for the record.
I'm Steven Espiritu Santo, and I would like to open up a barbershop on 101 Mahagan Avenue.
Great, thank you. Ms. Tu, do we have the mailings? I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to step forward to speak on this application? Ms. Tu, I forgot to ask you, Ms. Tu, do we have anything in writing? Anybody on the phone? Okay, great. Moving on to board for any questions, comments, or concerns. Mr. Brito? Oh, okay. He made a move. Anyone else, any questions, comments, or concerns?
Sixto, any comments?
None at the present time.
Great. Mike, any comments?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go back to the public hearing one more time. Anyone wishing to comment on this application, please step forward. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Brito, second. Mr. Madden. All in favor? Aye. Public hearing being closed, I'm going to move to the resolution for Stephen Espiristanto, 101 Mahagan Avenue, a barber shop. I need a motion. Ms. Houston, I need a second. Mr. Madden. Discussion.
One question.
Absolutely.
We've discussed this property before, I believe, with other entities there. Parking is provided on the opposite side of West Main Street, is that correct?
Yes, there is parking on the street, yes.
Parking on the street, but also, is there off-street parking that's dedicated to that building that's behind Monhagan Liquors?
Yes.
Okay.
The landlord the email should be in your packet. The landlord has agreed to give the barber shop some designated spots, similar to the landlord's property on West Main Street. That was the video place. He did the same exact thing for that gentleman so that he could have parking. If it wasn't in your packet, well, I apologize. But there was an email given to us from the landlord saying that he would designate parking spots. Even though he doesn't need them, he has street parking, but he does have extra parking.
Yeah, I think it's the fourth page.
Yeah, it's in our packet.
Okay.
I apologize.
No, it's all right. It's a
Thank
question.
you for the clarification.
All right, so is everyone clear on the
Yes.
parking situation? Okay, so we're going back where we were in discussion. I'm going to do a roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Brito?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Houston?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Good luck, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, next on the agenda is O'Reilly Auto Enterprises LLC, 183 Dolson Avenue, O'Reilly Auto Parts Store. Welcome, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Give me 1 second to get
Sure.
set up. Share. Everybody see that? I'm gonna be flipping through these here. So, Sam Burden with Bowler Engineering, here on behalf of the applicant, O'Reilly Auto Enterprises LLC, here tonight to continue the discussion that we had back in March regarding the new development of a 7,000 square foot quick serve, O'Reilly Auto Parts, located at the intersection of A-6 and Dolson Avenue. Site's currently zoned C3 general business. Retail auto parts stores are allowed use subject to site plan review and special use permit with the city planning board. As I mentioned, the applicant's looking to construct a new 7,000 square foot retail auto parts store. I have a render of that. So just to give an update, the site plan hasn't changed since we've seen you last. It's been updated for more construction level drawings. We're still at the proposed 35 parks, 24 required. We're proposing new trash, landscaping, signage. The existing site is vacant right now. As you can see, the shared access drive runs through our property. We're looking to maintain that shared access drive. Site generally slopes from west to east, drops from Dolson going down towards the plaza to the rear. The proposed building, because of the grade change that we have across the building, we have a 5-foot retaining wall across the back to a stormwater area. Utilities are across the frontage of the site. We've been working with the DPW on that, water and sewer, and then electric and gas. So since I've seen you last, just wanted to run through essentially what we've been doing in the background over the past 6 months. We've received an engineering review letter from CPL. We responded to that letter. We worked with the DPW on the existing shared access that is Abe Isaacs. So one thing I should mention is that there is right now an existing 50-foot easement to the city of Middletown, 25 feet that's on our property, 25 feet that's on the adjacent property. What we are looking to do is terminate that existing easement, or terminate or relocate essentially over the existing shared access drive. Now, we've worked with DPW to get their approval on this. Essentially, they are in support of what we're trying to do in terminating this easement and moving it over here. We've worked extensively and are continuing to work with Sapa Holdings, the adjacent property owner, who's also the seller of the property, of our property, and Middletown Commons LLC to make this work for everybody. We want to make sure that they are continue to have access and that they no one's cut off in this agreement. I have a aerial that I would just want to show the larger picture of how this would look just zoomed out. So the main entrance to the plaza, you can see, is from the signalized intersection, and we would just be proposing to maintain the existing shared access that is on our private. We have the support of the DPW that this is a privately owned road and it needs to be maintained that way. That's why we're working out maintenance agreements with the existing, or the neighboring property owners. As I had mentioned, we have verbal agreements. We're hoping today to be able to bring with us the shared access easement language to share. Those are still in draft form, and we want to make sure that we have these ironed out to give to the board. So if they have any questions, they know we can take it and go and file this with the county, as well as the shared access easement maps. We've put these together. They have been, as I mentioned, verbally agreed upon. This is the shared access easement to Middletown Commons LLC, encompassing the entirety of the shared access drive, and then the shared cross connection with Sapa Holdings. This is really what we've been trying to hammer on and get figured out over these past 6 months. So tonight we're here to answer any questions you may have, any engineering related or just in general about these easements. I know it's a lot of moving pieces, but hopefully tonight we can have, and the other thing I should mention is we have gone through the seeker mailings. I did bring those with us tonight, hoping that our board would be so choose to declare a negative declaration on seeker and potentially condition a site plan approval and special use permit on the remaining engineering comments that we are very confident that we can address in short form. So thank you, and if any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Okay. Ms. Tu, do we have the mailings? Yes. We listened to all that without asking a question. In that case, I'm going to open the public hearing. Ms. Tu, do we have anything in writing?
Nothing in writing.
Anyone on the phone? Then anyone from the public wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one stepping forward. I'll go to the board for any questions, comments, or concerns. Ms. Houston.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't have my mic on. On the seeker form, you checked yes for 12B. Is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office? What is the site that you are near?
I believe we're within the buffered check zone. I can confirm what that site is and provide that in writing. If we haven't provided a SHPO token or a letter of no impact, I would assume that it would be required, and we can get that.
Okay. I was just curious as to what I was missing, because I didn't realize there was something over there.
Sometimes it falls in a consultation area, something in the adjacent area might have been submitted a token, and that expands their buffer another 500 feet on all sides, but we don't anticipate there being,
Okay.
this being an archaeological sensitive area.
Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Wick?
So also on the seeker form, if you look on 13, where you're saying any proposed action would contain any water bodies, regulated, said yes, and then saying it wouldn't encroach on any existing thing. What about wildlife? Has that been taken into account?
So we do have the rare plants and animals. We didn't anticipate, because there's no vegetation on the site, there being any impact to native species, especially the ones that are identified on the form. So we don't anticipate there being any wildlife.
So I was doing some research, and on one of the forms that we were emailed, it said something about the Indian bat, and that they will use, wetlands and go into underground in order to nest, and that this was found to be on this site. Do you have any of that information?
No, I don't have any of that information. The only portion of identifiable wetlands are actually off our site. They're I'm trying to remember, to the south, or to the southeast, actually further down where Middletown Commons LLC is. I was at the site today. There's there's visual impact, or there's visual signs of, construction activity, not as part of our project, but previously. I mean, there's truck rutting, there's electrical lines that run across the site that have been identified. So I do not have a report that says no, there isn't, but we don't anticipate it as such, and that's why we checked that we would be in a buffer zone as indicated on the seeker form, but we don't anticipate it.
So just for my edification, how far is a buffer zone? Like, how do you describe that?
I believe it's 250 or 500 feet for a check zone. Same thing goes with the archaeological.
Anyone else? Mr. Madden, you had a question, or?
I do.
Go ahead. Just- Oh,
He's taking some notes.
okay.
Does the city maintain any buried utilities in that easement?
Yes, the easement that runs along the front, not the shared access easement, but the easement, I don't know if you can see, that I'm stroking with my pen across the frontage. It's a 20-foot easement across the front property line to the city of Middletown for their sewer infrastructure. We've received a verbal confirmation of our infrastructure in that easement from the DPW that essentially states that we're responsible if anything happens here, that the city needs to come and repair any portion of their sewer. We're going to be responsible for fixing our infrastructure, anything that's a permanent item in that infrastructure in there. And O'Reilly's agreed to that. That was typical. That was just something that CPL had also asked for, was verbal confirmation from DPW that we understand the risk associated with developing in that easement.
Nothing along the shared easement, though.
Right now, there's one light pole out here that is proposed to be removed, and that line would be removed with it, but I don't believe that's for the city, and I don't believe it's active.
Still, I'm talking about the easement that goes between your property and the adjacent property, the 50-foot easement that you're trying to remove.
I was on site today, and it was there was a dig safe called in previously, and the flagging was out there, but I did not see anything in that area. So, to our knowledge, based on the SUI, the subsurface utility locate that we got, there's no utilities in that easement.
And then one last question. So you're proposing a shared easement from the adjacent property going through your parking lot in front of the store to that exit?
Exactly, and this lines up with the O'Reilly access drive. So I have a better depiction of it over the site plan, just so you can see. So red being Sapa Holdings here, the blue being Middletown Commons here.
And there's no parking in that red section?
No parking allowed.
Where is the parking? Can you just point that out on that map?
We have parking along the frontage and we have parking along the building face.
How wide is that red section?
The red section, 30 foot.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Houston?
Do you or anyone who is familiar with this project know what business or what was previously on this property?
It's been vacant land for a while. I
One
don't know
of-
if,
I
I don't
think
know if
it
there ever
was-
was one.
Oh.
It used to be Wilson Field.
Someone
time
mentioned
ago.
that there were previous, I think it was you that mentioned there were visual signs of previous construction there. That's why I was asking.
That was from a geotechnical investigation that we had. We had borings out here for building design, footing design, and it identified a few feet of fill material, which is, you know, essentially would believe that there's construction previously. Yeah.
I have a question for you. So there's a shared access on the right, and there's also an easement on the front. So are we going to have two access agreements?
That's correct. We're going to have a shared access agreement between the seller and essentially themselves to provide them access should anything ever be developed, you know, on this other pad site. And then we're going to have a separate shared access easement from the seller to Middletown Commons LLC to maintain their access to their plaza here.
What about the 25-foot easement with the city of Middletown?
The easement for any construction or reconstruction of the sewer
Yeah.
line in this area?
No, in the front or in the top where,
Where the
yeah.
existing easement is? So I wouldn't assume that I wouldn't think that there would need to be a separate easement between the seller and the city of Middletown. It would be covered through the existing easement.
The easement that they're adding is the common driveway,
That's correct.
because that's where the DPW wants rights to go if they if they need to run a line for whatever need, wastewater, anything. That's what was my understanding.
The DPW wants to be a part of the shared access easement through the driveway.
Right. The other the drive with the shared access, the vertical driveway.
Not that one.
No, not that
on the
one,
other-
the new
Yeah.
one, yes. That's where the DPW, I understood, wanted shared access. No, yes?
That's news to me. I was not aware of that. Based on our conversations that we've had with them, they didn't take any objections to maintaining it as a private road. If they
Okay.
want shared access rights to the private drive, I mean, they own our access onto Dulcin Avenue.
Okay. I could have misunderstood
Yeah.
what they were trying to tell me.
Well, isn't there going to be piping and drainage underneath for city of Middletown?
Underneath this portion of our
Yes.
access drive? Yeah, but that's covered through the existing easement, the 20-foot easement that runs along the property frontage. The only piping that's there would be the existing sewer lateral that I'm aware of.
So there's no new piping going in when it's relocated from the left side to the right side?
We're not proposing anything, no. And we're unaware of the DPW having any projects associated with this easement.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes.
On the left-hand side,
Yeah,
there's an easement there now.
that's correct.
And what is that easement intended for?
So previously, there was a larger development that this was supposed to be the location of this road. And it appears that the road was constructed in the wrong location. There really isn't much more to go on. There's no legal, parameters from this road. What we're saying is, we can make our project work if we can terminate that 25-foot easement. It works better this way. It's the existing traffic pattern, and we don't have any interest in adding a new curb cut to Dolson Avenue.
So the existing easement is going to be terminated
Yeah.
on the left-hand side.
We propose to maintain a 50-foot easement as if it could be relocated from this area to here, but I think it's, either way we look at it, it would be terminated because the easement doesn't ever appear to
What
be
they told me
defined.
now? See, that was my understanding. Termination of the one easement on the left-hand side of your
Yeah.
drawing, and that easement would then be to the right-hand side of your drawing.
Yeah.
Where that shared access, the shared driveway is going.
And we're okay with that.
Okay, so that agreement has to be drawn up, and
The termination of,
it's in a draft form right now.
that's correct.
Okay.
Both of these, with the maintenance of a private road on private property,
Right.
it's just a lot of review with attorneys and shared maintenance of this road.
Mm-hmm.
And it really solidifies that this road and the condition of it will be maintained.
Right.
And that's what O'Reilly wants to have. They don't want everybody to be pointing fingers at each other of whose road
So
and who's
the city
maintaining.
has two involvements, one along Dolson Avenue, and one that's going to be where your new shared access driveway will be. That's the goal. And the one on the left will be terminated.
That's correct.
Okay. That's what I was told, so I just want to make sure that we all
Yeah.
on the same page. Yes, Ms. Witt?
So since that will be a privately owned access point, are you renaming it or are you keeping it the same?
No interest in
No interest in doing
changing
that?
it.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Nope, absolutely.
And have you addressed all of CPL's comments?
There's a couple of coordination items, specifically this one that they wanted the board's feedback on, and they requested additional information on how it was going to be handled with the city. They wanted written confirmation from New York State DOT that they had no involvement on this. We now have that from this region. They put it in the DPW's hands. This portion is controlled and maintained by the city of Middletown.
Okay.
The
And
other
have you
comment-
shared that letter with us?
It was shared with us, so I would assume that it was, I brought a copy of it. I mean, I can pull it out now, we can look at it, but it's, the comments that the comments that are are still existing are addressed with the understanding that everyone's on the same page with the easements. And his last comments, Christian Moore's, is maintenance of this road. He wants to make sure that the city, as a privately owned road, isn't just going to be assumed that they're going to come plow that road. And that's what we're taking care of on our side in the background.
And how long will that agreement take to be signed off on everyone?
I waited an extra hour to leave from Albany so I could try and bring it tonight, but it did not come in. I had a draft version of it that I was going to bring it wasn't ready. And I know that attorneys have been marking it up on both sides, so I didn't think a red line version would go very far tonight. But we anticipate to have executed agreements in less than 2 weeks. That's our goal. But
Okay.
we really wanted to, there's some other items that are going on in the background with closing dates and, these items needing to be filed. And O'Reilly wants to have some sort of security of, if we're going to purchase this property, some sort of approval would go a long way with them to, and continuing to push the neighbors to get this done. It really would go a long way with them tonight.
And how long will it take the letter from SHPO?
I would, I want to check and see that we don't already have it. It's pretty standard that we do if we fall within that buffer zone. It may have already, I want to check our submission to see if it was already submitted to CPL, because I would be surprised if he didn't request that as part of this.
I don't remember seeing it, but,
And if you don't, how long would it take?
It's on their desk, and how long it takes them to review it. It's usually a month.
We have a small conundrum because we've never seen the SHPO addressed. Okay? We have no agreements to approve. And earlier, this was an unlisted action, right, for seeker?
That's correct.
And we didn't believe we needed a neg deck or a lead agency, correct?
Correct.
You, this evening, you were asking or requesting a neg deck. Are you still requesting that, even though it's an unlisted action?
No, I must have misspoken on that. The reason being is the SHPO, I would have thought would have been signed off on. It is an unlisted action based on what we see as part of the regulations for seeker.
And Ms. Witt did bring up the issue about the bat. Is there some way to clarify that?
Typically, in vacant sites in urban areas, those aren't items of concern, especially when they're cleared, but it would be hiring a biologist to go out there and walk the site.
I mean, I didn't see CPL question that either.
Right.
Two things, SHPO and the bat, I did not see in CPL's comments at all.
We still don't know what the historical is either.
That's SHPO. Yeah.
And Christian and I walked through our latest submission to the town back on June 7th, and he didn't take any objections to our responses
Right.
and where we were at. We can provide those items.
Yeah.
The biologist, obviously, that would be a little bit longer of a lead time item. Potentially conditioned on providing those items without a positive recommendation for anything environmentally related, but
Okay.
I guess we can also ask Christian to take another look and see if it would be required for a biologist to go out.
Well, that or his comments would be not to, or
Right.
doesn't matter. The same thing with SHPO. Well, they're going to produce the letter from SHPO one way or the other. The bat, CPL can comment on.
Right.
we did have seeker comments from Christian on this, so it was. Yeah, he had 2 minor comments on that.
Neither one were SHPO or neither one
right.
in the bat. Right, okay. That's, so is that a subject too, or do you want to hold it over? I mean,
Well, I think it should be held over because the SHPO could potentially be a big deal.
Those items, we could also, usually those could be provided prior to building permit, because we would not be starting construction until the building permit was reviewed and approved. And we would not disturb the site, or we could agree to not disturb the site until those 2 items are provided.
the problem with that, once we do that, this goes to the DPW. With our approval, you can get a permit. I can't stop that. So it's more important to this body before we approve something that, if not everything, most everything is in place. Because then they don't have to worry when it goes to them. They know they can issue the permit, and then you can proceed ahead with your construction. From what I understand, your construction is not going to start right away.
That's correct. We do not plan on starting construction this.
Okay.
I imagine it's just for closing purposes.
Right. They want assurance that,
Yeah, I mean, it also comes down, O'Reilly was looking at this and wondering why, because of the amount of background work we've done with these easements information, I haven't seen you or been able to, address to you the progress that we made over the past 6 months.
That would've
that's a
been-
long time to not go in front of a board for them to be getting close to a closing date and wanting to see the progress that was made. I understand the concern of not having the SHPO letter and the
Agreements.
agreements. I would understand, we would be in agreement to not start construction until those are provided, and that the agreements must be executed and filed with the county prior, to issuance of anything, but if,
Yeah. Just keep in mind, we were waiting for those agreements. That's why
Yeah.
you weren't here. And you're welcome anytime to address this body. If you thought somewhere along the line O'Reilly needed to have a progress report, we would have gladly met with you
yep,
without a public hearing. Well, that's, we're a friendly body. We work to get things done, try to get things done. That being said, you think it's more prudent that we wait for the SHPO letter?
I do.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think we're going to wait one more month, sir, for our approval, because we've now, everyone knows it's an unlisted action in seeker, not requiring lead agency or neg deck, okay? The agreements with the city must be ironed out and sent to our planning board attorney also, okay?
does that mean the agreements need to be executed and filed, or they need to just be reviewed by the,
We'd like to have them in our hand at least.
yep,
At least.
Prior to filing, so if there's anything
Right.
that the city wants to add, that it can be done.
Yeah. Filing would be
And not
worse.
saying that there would be.
Right. Letter from SHPO, or something from CPL, some collaboration between your organizations, and same thing with the Indian Bat.
the Indian bat. Yeah, okay.
Talk to CPL.
Yeah,
You
no,
you
I
guys might be
understand.
able to come to an agreement that's not necessary.
Yeah, I guess, I understand that.
CPL is a local firm, they do a lot of work in the area,
Yep,
they may be able to help you,
okay.
okay? So I guess I didn't put it to the board, but it sounds like we might put this off for 30 days, just to make sure we kind of get the rest of these items ironed out, or at least to the point where they can be approved and you can move forward.
Or at that next meeting, approve subject to any additional comments that may need to come in, understanding that you may not have the final version of the draft, but something close, something that we can work with.
I think we would be more confident at that point in time, and you too. It'd be-
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the information here. We'll try and get these things ironed out as fast as possible. Obviously, we have a lot of other parties that we've been dealing with and that, can hold us up. So the more that we can show as progress.
Well, you can go back to them now and say, look, these are the minor items we need, let's get going.
That's correct. And we've been letting them know,
Yeah.
we've been telling them on our side too.
All right.
It's-
Very good, all right. So basically, on O'Reilly Auto Enterprises LLC, 183 Dolson Avenue, O'Reilly Auto Parts Store, I'm offering up a resolution to adjourn for future consideration.
Could we close the public hearing
No.
portion of it?
No, I cannot. No, if we're going to adjourn for future consideration, we have to keep the public hearing open. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a motion to keep the public hearing open at this
Right,
point.
basically. Keeps your application active. I need a
We would
motion.
be under a time constraint then to make a decision on your application if we were to close the public hearing. And then at the next meeting, if you still haven't made any progress, or you call up and ask for an adjournment to move it back because you're still waiting, then we're under the gun that we got to make a decision.
Understood.
Okay. I need a motion. Mr. Brito, second, Ms. Witt. Discussion? Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. Brito?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Houston?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, Mr. Burden,
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Look
And
forward to-
obviously, if there are any questions that you have that come up prior to our next meeting, please feel free to call us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if we need to schedule a workshop session with you, we're more than happy to do that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Nothing being before the board. Need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Brito, second, Ms. Houston, all in favor? Aye. Thank you all.